Hey guys, Johnny Nerd out here. Got a special episode for you. Special, right? All my episodes are special. Today I am in California meeting with the electric bike company. I'm going to get a tour of the facility from Sean Lupton Smith. Sorry about the noise. I'm right behind a very busy road. They're going to show me the facility. They really like my video on what most e-bike manufacturers don't want you to know. If you haven't seen that, check it out here. It really resonated with them, and they're like, yeah, we totally agree, and that's what we're all about too. We want to try to make as much stuff in-house domestically here in California as feasibly possible, from lacing your own wheels to painting the frames to everything. They do it all here in California. And they're like, you want to come out and check out the facility? I was like, heck yeah, let's do this. Let's do this, son. So yeah, here in California, any excuse to get out of Utah for a little bit, why not? Let's do it. Beautiful weather here. And so we're gonna do a tour. Sean Lupton Smith is gonna give me a tour of their facility. You're gonna show me everything they do here in-house. Yeah, some of the benefits that you get from building stuff locally. It's totally doable. There's lots of other companies that are doing it like this too. You're not limited. Stop saying that people aren't building stuff domestically, because it's just a lie. If you wanna buy cheap crap, then go buy cheap crap, man. Let's go do a tour. Let's go meet up with Sean, and let's go do a tour of the facility.
So this is where we put the final touches on everything. So down here, each stand has 2 building stations. So we'll have 20 stands down, 10 stands down here, so 20 building stations for where the final assemblies gets done. And here we do the prepping of our wiring. So all the wiring prep gets done on this side.
This is like where you just run all the cables through from the controller, from the battery, everything gets hidden. Just like in there. Cool.
Yeah, so you'll see over here, for instance, this is a frame. So it'll be normally a raw frame, and then all this wiring and the grommets and the plugs and the press cups and the bottom brackets, that all gets put on here. Our alarm system.
That's cool. That's an alarm system, anti-theft. I saw that.
And
go ahead.
So so the wiring is quite important. Each wire not only has to obviously have the same function, but it has to be water resistant. It has to be the right length. It has to obviously make sure that it integrates with the whole system.
Yep.
So this whole thing, as simple as it looks, is actually quite tricky to get perfect. Obviously, once we ramp up in production, it's a lot easier. And then we have, so the people that do this is more our engineering department. Each one of our items that go inside here, for instance, a wire harness of this length, it's actually quite tricky because there's 26 wires that actually get connected in a junction box here. Then they're color coded, and then they're water resistant when they're plugged in. This really helps on troubleshooting. So if somebody has a problem with either his pedal assist or his display or his lights or
throttle, brake cutoff, all
that different. So you can actually, he just tells us the problem. We tell him which color it is. We can unplug it and send the product back to the customer.
Yeah.
So each one of these are different models. It's really the same for the controller. The controller wiring inside here, of course, is vitally important on how these different lengths, the different pin call-outs. These all will be internally into the battery. These will be external. This will be the motor. This will be the fronts, and this will be the pedal assist. One will be alarm sensor, power to the battery, and then backlights. So all this wiring here is critical for us, not only for building, but also for after-sale maintenance, repairs, servicing. So we know we don't rely on other people to install this, because we want to double check that everything on this is right before it goes on the person's bike.
Yeah,
it's critical.
So that's a big difference between buying like a pre-made bike where it's made overseas, they get it in a box and they just reship it. They just reship it to somebody else. This one, you can see they're making them here. It's really cool what they're doing. And now, where does the controller get hidden in here?
Oh, that's a good point. So so there's a bracket here. So before we put this bracket in, the controller sits in here.
Oh, nice.
So it's hidden inside here, then it gets locked in place by this bolt. Then the wires get threaded through here. But we put that on after we run the brake line. So the brake line needs to be run, the motor line needs to be run, then the harness wires need to be run, and then the controller gets put in place, gets locked in place, and then the bracket then for the battery is the one that secures us into the frame.
Now, how waterproof? What question that we get asked all the time is how waterproof is it? Water resistant.
Okay.
I know it's never waterproof, but it's how water resistant is it?
Very water resistant. That's one of our key things. I mean, this can get used in all kinds of applications. What we say is we prefer not to submerge the bike.
Yeah.
If the bike is submerged into like a ravine, into a lake or something, it's eventually all that water is going to seep through into all the little grommets.
Yeah, it'll find a way.
It'll find a way to get in there. So we say you can ride in any conditions, snow and rain and whatever you like, but please try not to submerge it. If it does get submerged for some reason and you've got it like at your holiday place and as the storm comes up, then there's water that can get inside there. Tell us what part that is. We will then ship you that particular part. Any mechanic. One of the key things about our bike is we wanted to make sure that we knew everything, that if somebody did have a problem, a mechanic could solve it, and not necessarily have to have an electrical engineer to diagnose it, to solder on there, and to put all these multimeter and figure out the problem. We'll say if you've got a problem with the controller, take this out, slide out the controller, unplug the connections. We'll ship you the part, the mechanic that you work with, and we work with. We've obviously got national service agreements with mobile bike mechanics, independent mobile bike mechanics that will go.
So do they come to your house? Is that how that works?
That's
cool.
the nice thing about the bike. If you have quality agreements with guys that come.
Do you know any of them offhand that you could let people know, or is it kind of up in the?
Good. So VeloFix is one.
Yeah, I was going to say.
With Beeline Bikes is another. Beeline Bikes. Those are the top two, and then you can get within your region. Each state has they're all. It's a really nice. If anybody's looking for a little business opportunity, it's a really good one. You get a van. You get certified by the supplier. You have all your tools, all the little parts, and then you can actually, instead of the customer having to go down to a bike shop, and I love bike shops, make no mistake, bike shops are the backbone of this entire industry. But if you feel the bike is heavy or it's a pain in the neck to go out there, at the time, pick up the phone, support these guys as well, because they not only have bike shops, all their independent bike and servicing guys, they'll come to you if you're at the office or at home or even on the road. They'll come and they'll help you service the bike.
Yep. Just one more reason to get a van, guys. All right.
One of our big claims to fame is we test the bike fully built. So there's two bikes going out there. So that'll be on a crate. The key thing to doing that is we don't want the customer to typically be putting on the battery and plugging in electrical wires, or making sure the front wheel gets properly seated inside the dropouts, or making sure that the pedals are once anti-clockwise, once at the front. Figuring all that stuff out. We really want the customer to get his bike, slide it out the box, turn the handlebars where he likes it, tighten it, and off he goes. Right?
So that's all they got to do.
That's all they got to do.
Okay.
And this is where we do that.
Shipping has got to be a lot on that, though. Is it not?
No, it's actually, so we just charge $199 flat rate.
Really?
And it arrives like that in your house fully. It arrives in your house on your doorstep for $199, and you just slide it out the box and it's twist the handlebars ready to ride.
And you got a cool box for it after that.
These are all made custom to fit on the bike. So this is high density foam here.
So that's how they get shipped?
Yeah, exactly. And it gets
nice.
and it gets pressed into the bike. And then this slides. We've got other components, other foam that sits on the back over here, and then it slides into the box. So the pedals are on, the kickstand's obviously on, the seat's on, the front wheel's on, everything. All that's needs to do when you take this off is you twist the handlebars, tighten them, and off you go riding.
Nice. I mean,
this is an example of we can do up to 60 bikes fully built here per day. And with the team that we have, and if we double up our team, we can obviously double up.
Is that what you're averaging, is 60 a day pretty much?
60 bikes per day, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So this is our whole city here. I'll show you. So here's an example of how we do our wooden fenders and chain guard. So we have our molds, and this is quite, so we have the wood gets placed on here in different levels. So the raw material, for instance, is here. So
So are all your fenders wood, or do you have different ones, or are they just all wood?
No, you can choose either
Okay.
steel, wood, or just a bash bar.
Cool, and this is what they look like finished, huh?
Exactly.
It's really nice.
So they're layered with different woods on the different layers. So we'll layer them 1, 2, 3, 4 layers. Then we'll bend them over the mold. So we moisture them, bend them over the mold, let that sit and cure. Then we take it out, we bring it over here. So this will be like a finished, this is once it's bent. So you'll see the different layers, and then it bends over here. And this is a really important circumference here to make sure that it fits perfectly with our wheel size on our different models. Once it comes from there, it'll be put into a CNC machine. And the CNC machine here, then will round it out nicely and make the nice curves, make it look beautiful. We'd like to do this by hand, but the CNC machine actually does it like really perfectly. Everything else is by hand except for this part.
So you also have a chain guard that's wooden? I saw that over here. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it's right here. Well, that's really cool. How about, what's the reliability on that? Like, how strong is that compared to like a steel or aluminum one?
Yeah, so this is actually one of our rejected ones, because you see it's got pinholes on it.
Okay.
But basically you'll see is we once it's finished, we'll stain it, and then we burn our logo into it, and then we send it to our paint facility, which we'll go take a look at.
Cool.
And our paint guys, then they put 3 layers of sealant on here. So typically lasts like a boat.
Yeah.
When you got a boat, you eventually have to, you'll start seeing it will start flaking after about 5 or 6 years. Then you can either take it off and finish it, or you can just finish it and just tape it up. But it lasts a long time, at least 5 years before you have to do anything with it.
Very cool.
Obviously, depending on the weather, if you're going into mud and water, which electric bikes typically people don't do that often.
Yeah.
So here is where we're setting up our wheel building machine. So we've got 2 of these machines, one in this facility, one in the other. And what we do here is we used to have a third party build our wheels. But basically what we do is we sell 2 wheels. You know, it's 2 wheels, a person on 2 wheels. So the wheel building for us became so critical. Each part of the wheel. So the hub with integrated bearings and the material to make sure it's not it doesn't rust. Even the holes for the 13 gauge spoke, because our spokes are a little thicker than a regular bike spoke.
Yeah.
Our spokes themselves, to make sure that they are stainless, rust resistant, that they can handle the tension. Because there's a little bit more tension on a wheel, building a wheel with a motor on.
Yeah, there's more weight in there and everything.
And torque.
Yeah.
And you've got to make sure that your drive side, there's different size
offset.
Yeah, offset to make sure it's dished correctly.
Yep.
It's tensioned right. It's trued properly. And that the rim itself is a double-walled rim. It's got nice beading inside,
nice.
So the beading can sit in. So, and when you put a nipple on a spoke, the nipple, we're really picky on that. It's actually the attachment point of the spoke to the rim. That's a brass nipple, so that lasts all weather conditions as best as possible. And it's soaked in mineral oil before we attach it to the spoke.
Oh, interesting.
We seat it in mineral oil. We put then we lace the wheel, and then we run it through. Which we'll do over here. You can see here. This is an example of Keenan here. He's lacing the wheels himself through the use of the machine.
So how fast can you lace a wheel?
Minute 10.
Be honest.
Minute 10.
Really?
Yeah,
Fully, both sides?
Yeah, average minute 20.
Wow. If you've ever tried to lace a wheel at home, you know it takes about an hour if you don't have the proper stuff. Minute 20. This is, invest in one of these. This has got to be a couple $100 probably.
And you can see it's kind of like a little gun, like a little cartridge there. And all those nipples, it's actually really important that those are sized correctly, you'll notice inside here that this is a mineral oil soaking system that we have here to make sure that's one of our sort of claims to fame. You can quite easily lace a wheel without doing this, but the longevity of your wheel, to keep it true and keep the integrity of the wheel, is really important to do this small little detail like this.
So what does that do exactly? It just weatherproofs it?
It helps for the weatherproofing. It helps to make sure that that it slides on perfectly, that it doesn't sort of start cutting the threading.
So it's just a lube pretty much, right? It just kind of keeps. Yeah. So like when you try to tension your lubes, I always recommend putting Tri-Flow on it before you do any adjustments to your rims. But yeah, it's a good tip.
Yeah. And so here you'll notice this wheel machine is actually, you guys, and you seem familiar with building wheels and making sure they're true either side, and it's 100% and they're tensioned right. I mean, truing is one thing, but then tensioning it perfectly is another thing.
Each spoke, you may get it perfect, and then one has 50, whatever it is, Newton meters of torque, and then one's got 15 on the opposite side, and you're like, well, all right, great.
Yeah, exactly. Now, so this takes care of a lot of that problem.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So this automatically tensions it?
Correct.
Look at that.
Trues it and tensions it.
Try to get in there. Yep.
And you'll notice there's like those little red lasers inside there, making sure that it can measure closer than the human eye, which is kind of nice. So when the wheel comes out of there, it's perfectly dished, trued, and tensioned.
Wow.
Which is a big deal for us. So for us to invest in a machine like this was key, and we've got a couple of the machines, is key because when you can do the bike perfectly right, but if your one wheel is not tracking properly behind the other, or just correctly, or kind of tensioned right, over time, the first year you'll probably be okay. The second year, by about the fourth or fifth year, just everything kind of falls apart.
Well, yeah, that's one of my big gripes with overseas made, especially hub powered bikes. That I used to work at a manufacturer that we sold overseas made stuff. They're not a manufacturer, it's a brand, which is one of my big beefs, but you guys are actually the brand. You guys are doing this stuff in here. You guys are making sure the quality control issues are taken care of before they leave the warehouse. So that's huge.
Yeah, well, thanks for that.
Yeah.
It is something like we started 10 years ago, and we thought, let's do it. It only makes sense. Apple computers and everything are made in, overseas, wherever, in different countries, which is fine. But what we wanted to make sure is, how do we control that over time without having to set up our whole team over there to do the quality control?
Yeah.
And we felt that it was not only better for us to bring it back here, but it's also really rewarding. It's rewarding to see that you see a bike coming out and you know the team has touched every part of that bike, and then you can also service and know how everything is. I don't have to take the phone calls all the time now. My whole team, they know it, and they actually like what you were saying, and which I really respected. Is we're not just smoke and mirroring it. We're not just an electric bike, an American electric bike brand. We're an American electric bike building brand. We're actually building, and we allow the customer to choose, personalize his bike, choose colors, choose frame design, choose battery sizing, choose wheel tire size, and we'll do it for them. Whatever tire. That's
really cool. So do you guys do that on each model? You guys customize? You could change your tire size on each model, and
you've got a 24-inch and a 26-inch tire. So, and you can choose a color: silver, black, or red. Or you can customize it, and you can choose the tire. If you want just a Continental tire, if you want a Schwalbe tire, if you want a thicker tire.
That's really cool.
They get to choose anything.
That's awesome. I love what you're doing. That's what more people need to be doing. Let's keep the tour. I know you're a busy man today.
I'll take you up over here. This is where we do our wheel. When you heard that pop was one of the they put
inflate the tires,
which is important. We want to make sure. Even small details like putting a strip before you put on the tubing, especially with the double-walled rim.
Yeah, the rim strip.
Yeah, you want to make sure the rim strip is on there.
Yeah.
So sometimes you'll take your bike, it all looks great, and all of a sudden you get a puncture and you take the wheel off, and inside there's no strip in there.
Yeah.
It's because the rims, cut your tube.
Yep.
So and then that strip, also the quality of that strip's important to make sure it is strong enough to hold just a piece of junk. And then the quality of the tubing, the quality of the valve. The valve, you want to also make sure that it doesn't rust. Some of these valves are fine, and you've got your valve cap on there, and then now you've got a puncture, and you try to take the valve cap off, and it's rusted in there, and you pull, and you really mess everything up.
Yep.
So it's all these small little details that we want to make sure the customer, we'll take care of all that stuff. He doesn't have to worry about it. And the bike not only looks good, but it is actually good.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Cool.
This is where they do over here. They go through all that. And we're busy setting up here, of course. I've been in the third factory, but the guys really take a good eye for the detail.
And you guys got puppies too.
My baby.
Hi.
I just got her yesterday.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Lila?
Lila.
Yeah, she's only 7 weeks.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll take you through to one of our batteries, where we do some of our battery assembly. So we don't do the cell, not yet.
Do you have plans on making the cells yourself?
Yes, we'd love
Really?
to. One of the things about a battery pack, which we feel is critically important, and which Tesla kind of leads the way, is the bond between a cell and the nickel plating.
Yeah.
And there's certain sort of guys out there that you can actually put a fuse between each cell through the nickel plating, but it's very difficult to do to make sure that that fuse does,
So that would isolate, if there was an issue, it would isolate it to that cell. Is that what those
particular
fuse do?
cell,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
And wire bonding is by far the best technology to do. It is a little bit expensive to do it, and it's, when you're doing these humongous big packs like in Tesla, cars,
Yeah.
then it's a must. With ours, the industry is okay with putting a nickel plating and different types of bonding on them.
Because if you ruin a pack, it's 70 cells versus 7,000 cells that go bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the energy capacity in those
Yeah,
cells.
that's true.
It's a big problem with
Yeah,
it.
yeah. You got a bomb.
But still, yeah, exactly. So, but still, we feel that that's where we want to end up going. No one's doing it in the e-bike world, really. There's some guys kind of fiddling around with it, but we want to be the market leaders in that. And what we felt, the only way we're going to do that is if we are actually building assembling the casing and the battery pack, and the retractable cord and the charger and the lighting and the wiring and the plugs. Once we can get all that, we still get the pack imported, but now we can get the pack and we assemble everything else, and soon we'll also take the pack and then we'll start doing the pack ourselves.
Interesting.
Of course, as we grow.
Yeah.
So we'll show you
Cool.
how we do some of that up there. This is just a mini showroom that we have. As we expand, we've got 2 showrooms where we show our bikes ourselves, which is one's in Newport Beach and the other one's in Huntington. And we've got about 86 dealers. We supply the dealers as well. So we've got about 60% is direct to the consumer because you can get it fully built. But we also like to support the dealers. So we send the dealers the bikes, where the dealers can go through what I was just explaining about all the details of
Yeah.
the bikes are so much better. And we found that that's quite important. A lot of the times, and which I appreciate what you do, is a lot of the times when somebody reviews a product or reviews an operation, it's kind of from one side, depending on who's maybe paying or who's
I am not getting paid for this whatsoever.
So I like the fact, and I love the fact that you took the time to come here. A lot of people say, no, electric bike company doesn't build their bikes. They get their bike in the box, they put the pedals on and the seat on, and then they ship it out. Well, we don't do that, and I'm glad that you took the time to come see that.
Yeah.
And we find, but also what the customer likes to do is, although they see it on reviews or they see it on YouTube videos and everything, sometimes they also want to feel and touch it.
Yeah.
Now, of course, there's a price that's added to that because everybody needs to have a markup. So if you're buying directly from a factory like ours, it's a little bit more affordable. Although we've got really good deals with our dealers. We choose the dealers that can actually, explain the bike. They're a quality operation. It's just not like any kind of bike dealer that just wants to flog this stuff. It's really important that those dealers can support the product over time. Because we pride ourselves in the fact that we do use only stainless rust resistance stuff, the longevity, that we do hydraulic disc brakes, no cable brakes. We try and make
So everything's hydraulic disc brakes on your bikes? Okay.
no cable. That just takes, especially in a heavier bike. People are typically heavy or they carry a lot of cargo. They go faster, they go more often, and the braking is a key part to that.
Yeah.
So it's all that. So our showrooms are a place where we can not only show the product, and our dealers can show the product, but one of the real key is these days we find that customers want to personalize their bike. Once you're getting a mass-produced product, and people seem to be moving a little bit more away from that. They want something personalized, something that they had some say in it, something that reflects them. People's body sizes are all different. People's, color preferences of it.
Well, people's limbs are different sizes too. There's a whole geometry that some people, on paper you're a large, but maybe your limbs are longer and you actually are a medium. Yeah, it's like,
your arm is different.
yeah, it's really important to get on a bike and make sure the geometry fits you and all that.
Exactly.
So.
And then there's especially like creative people and like women with, they love the nail varnish, there's certain colors that they really like and certain colors that they don't like.
No.
So we offer that where the customer can go online and they can like choose, they'll come to, let's say the front basket, the mesh lining, even the mesh lining inside there, they can choose a different sort of color. If they say, the purple goes better, or I'm not the best designer here, but all the orange is better inside. But that goes for the whole bike, every part of the bike, even the battery case. Because we put our battery cases together, we can before we assemble that, we can actually paint that. So it's kind of nice. And most bikes, I think 99% of all bike brands, you can only have a black case, but there, you can have if you want the purple case, or if you want a blue case, or if you want a red case. So you can choose and design your bike with all the different things. You were asking about the tires, like we've got a Fat Frank black tire, or we've got a brown and white wall tire, or you want a Continental tire with really high quality puncture resistance in it. But you can choose, you can go through an electric bike company and you can go through like your rims. Some people prefer the red rims or the black rims. And you can also call us if you want a special type of rim. We can even customize that. But on our customizer, you have all these different options that you can go through and choose. All the way down, you can get a GPS tracker or you can get an anti-theft alarm system.
So does the GPS tracker come with like a monthly subscription to it, or what do you use for that one?
Correct, you get a monthly subscription, so you pay for we install it and everything, and you can go through which carrier you like. There's a little SIM card in there, and then if you go through a different carrier, you've got your own carrier, you can just track it on your SIM card.
Who makes that one?
I don't know the actual maker of that, quite frankly. I apologize for that.
No, you're good.
It's our rep that's given to us. What we liked about it was that we could assemble it within our battery packs, and so that people couldn't easily steal that. Once if you want to steal a bike, you take out the GPS and then you steal the bike.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that wasn't available. So anyway, so this is our showroom. We brand some of our items. We like, obviously lock safety. This is, high density, the high hardened steel lock. We try and test everything. There's so many bike part accessories out there, and people will say, well, this is the greatest product ever, but it doesn't necessarily fit your particular bike. And so we make sure when we sell a part, it fits on our bike. There's a place to put it on the bike. It's
integrated.
It's integrated because it works okay. Like our cell phone holder, which is on the bike over there. A cell phone holder is.
Oh, I see.
The cell phone holder is one of the key things. There's probably 2,000 different cell phone holders that people sell, and we haven't tried all 2,000 of them, but we've tried like hundreds of them. And then your cell phone is like a key part as much as the bike costs. And you want it to be held properly. So we don't sell any of them except for one. It's actually a San Diego company. I don't know exactly where they manufacture, but they say they've designed it, they stand by it, they warranty it, they service it here. It's an unbelievable product. It's the only cell phone holder that we sell. We wouldn't be selling all the government's a cheaper one, or you can go on Amazon or anything.
Yeah.
So anything that we sell online, we've tested, we approve it, we stand by it, we warranty it. It's not a wide range, but it's a selective quality range.
Nice.
I'll show you up here. So this is one where I think one of the things that we try and do from our company compared to anybody else is technology is a key part to electric bikes, and technology can expand significantly. So this is part where we've got another facility where we do our engineering. And this is our engineering. Our engineers, most of these guys are either electrical engineers or studying to become. And in our other factory we've got a little bit bigger area, but right here you can see here's a pack, for instance, where they. Thanks, you carry on. Thanks. So this is an example. We'll get the casing, we'll get the controller, we'll get the anti-theft alarm system, we'll get the integrated charger. So this is a nice thing with this battery pack, is the charger is part of the battery pack. No one else does it. So we designed the whole pack with a cooling fan, with the charger, all the XT30s and XT60 connections, wire lengths, plugs, all the way that this is connected to the battery pack. And then this is then put together with the top part, where you see it over here.
Really quick, show me that charge port. Is it just a standard 3-prong outlet then? Like how do you charge it then when you plug it into the wall?
So the individual batteries that come in here, those have their own charge port. With this one, when we have the tops to them, they have a wall outlet. So you could leave the battery inside of here and charge it just like this by plugging it into the wall.
Wow, so it's a retractable, how long of a cord is this?
4 feet.
4 feet.
That's pretty awesome. So you don't need to carry around your charge cable with you or anything. You could just literally, if you're riding, you could just find any outlet, and if you carry it, and if somebody has an extension cord or something, you could just tap that in.
It's if you hold it, I mean, you can go like.
It might be more than 4 feet.
Yeah, it's quite, so as long as you get to it within a range of a charger, of a plug, in most like cafes and restaurants and things, where you got your computer anyway, there's always a plug nowadays.
Now, are you able to remove the battery remove this whole battery and charge it, or does the whole bike need to be near the outlet, or can you remove it and just take the battery to the outlet?
You can just take the battery to the outlet, and that has the 3-prong charger onto it as well.
Okay, interesting. That's very cool. Yeah. Definitely like that.
And this is the nice thing about the team here. Like, if there's anything that ever, somebody says, I've got this problem with it, or I dropped my bike, or, they know the ins and outs of everything to be able to service it quickly, to either send them the parts, to do a video conferencing to the mechanic and just say, okay, listen, take this part out, put this part back on. We've got the parts here, we've got the experts here, we've got the tools that are needed. So we're not having to spend excessive amounts on warranty. So we offer a 5-year warranty on all our batteries. So that's minimum.
5-year warranty?
5 years.
Wow.
Most people are 1 year, maybe 2 years, a few people 3 years. But we do 5 years because we know if there's ever is a problem, we can send it back, we can troubleshoot it ourselves, we can repair it, and we can send it back to the customer. So it's like here, for instance, all these wired parts, all these lengths, all the plugs, the way that this is integrated into the pack, these are all serviceable parts that are on the battery. Typically, and that's with like most batteries, if somebody else is doing this, you have very little control over repair and maintenance. And the experts, the experts are all overseas. Here, these guys are local. Guys are really motivated. They're obviously intelligent guys. They take pride in their work, and that's one of the beauties of building here is it's not only rewarding, but we can service every little part of the bike, everything.
That's awesome.
That's a lot. Here's one of the. I'll show you a quick little thing down here. So one of our claims to fame is our basket. Most people on a beach cruiser, when you put a beach cruiser, you put the basket on the handlebars, then you put the kickstand down, and then the basket falls. Everything, all the contents of the basket falls out.
Because it's kind of like top heavy, where the placement of the kickstand I think really dictates that
too. Yeah. And also, if you've got the basket and you've got quite a lot of load, particularly on electric bikes, that's kind of more and more people start doing that. So start running errands. And
more car alternatives. People are riding them a lot more than they think. It's not just a toy. They're using them as cars.
Utility.
Absolutely. Go ahead. Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah.
That's good. So what we did was we did something unique there, and we said, okay, we don't want any cables ideally on the bike. So we can route all our wiring and tubing really close into the handlebars. So if you look at other electric bikes, they've got this big arch because they use cable brakes, and there's a lot of the wiring is done by a lot of different people, so it's kind of not really cut to the perfect length and not really measured properly. So you've got a lot of wiring in the front of your bike. A lot of electric bikes you can get the back rack, okay, because there's not much wiring there. Everything is going through your battery and through your controllers and through your brake disconnect. So what we've done is we've routed it close. We've modified our headsets to have a bracket on the headset where we can we can put the tubing and the wiring through the modified headset. The nice thing about that is it not only keeps our wiring close to the frame, it also then allows us to then attach the basket to the headset. So then you're not compromising your steering at all with a basket, especially on cruiser bikes. and the basket's actually attached to the frame. So it means you can put a lot more cargo into the frame.
It's heavier duty. What's the weight capacity on those on the front rack?
50 pounds.
That's pretty good for a front rack.
That's right. Yeah.
I got a Benno carry-on, and that thing, I think that's like the strongest front rack I've ever seen. I think it's rated for 50 pounds as well. Yeah. So 50-pound rating is pretty good. I've actually had a 160-pound person sit on it before. I don't recommend doing it, obviously, but it'll hold a lot more. So
kids do that. Kids get their buddies to jump on the basket, sitting there, and that's right. So that's what we've done is we've modified the headset, so the bracket, beforehand we had a 2mm, then a 3mm, then now a 5mm, and make sure they're not steel instead of aluminum. Obviously we coat it so it doesn't rust. We've got stainless, rust-resistant hardware.
So now there's wires coming out of here. What are those? What are those wires?
So that's one of our. That's why also again I appreciate you coming and taking a look, because these are the tricks that you can do when you build your own product. Is what we wanted to make sure is that the wiring, we didn't. It's kind of like, they say about lighting. You want to, or kids. You want to see them but not hear them. You want to make sure that your wiring is there's a extensive integration of the wiring, but you don't want to see it. Ideally, you don't want to see all this stuff.
You heard it. Wiring are like children. I like that one. You want to see them, but not see them. You want to hear. I don't even know how that works.
See them, but not hear them.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Here you want to make sure that everything works perfectly, but you don't. You want it that it's integrated. So that's a trick. That's what we've done here. Is obviously through our design, as you can see. People say, "Where's your alarm?" Well, now you know because you've taken the time to go see our factory. But we stick the alarm on this particular one inside the bracket of the basket, which is a nice sturdy bracket. Then we have our charging port and an on and off switch tucked in here, and this gets then attached to the bike. So it hides all the wiring. Now for service, there's 4 plugs, 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are plugs that can unplug. They could just get unplugged, send back to us, and we can service this entire battery pack. So you ask, so what is with the battery? Well, the nice thing about having a design where you've got the modified headsets and you've got integrated wiring is you can then add the battery to the basket. And particularly for women, they don't really like these big battery packs all over the show. They want to
it makes it look gross sometimes.
Yeah.
So now these battery packs is this the main battery pack for the bike?
This is for the Y. This is a 10.5 amp hour battery pack, and what we can do is we can double stack it and triple stack it.
I was gonna say, so this one looks a little bit bigger.
Yeah, so that one's double stack.
So that's a 20 amp hour battery?
Exactly.
Wow. Okay.
And then we can put another one on top of that. We can put 30 amp hour.
Wow. What's the biggest you guys make?
So we do a 50. So that we do 30 in the front. So you can stack them 10 amp hour, 20 amp hour, 30 amp hour. And then on the down tube, we can put a regular battery like you see on most electric bikes. And then on a back rack, like we just saw over there, you can put another, 20 amp hour. So you can.
That's just greedy. Now you guys are just getting greedy now.
That's
a huge range. That's insane. I love it though. That's good. That's if you want to do like cross country bike packing and things like that, where you got to do 200 miles a day, if not more, charge, and then just keep going. That's pretty cool.
Some people have this range anxiety. They say, I've got to do 80 miles or 100 miles. I've got a lot of cargo. It's a big terrain. It's going to be windy today. 100 miles might do it, 120. Well, we've got a bike that can do 200 miles.
Yeah.
The battery setup. So you put a back rack on there in the front.
And weather affects it too. I mean, if you live in a cold climate area, that's 15% of your capacity goes down. So if you may have a 50-mile rated battery, but in the winter you're looking at 35 miles maybe.
Exactly.
And then if it's windy on top of that or something, you take a detour and you got more hills, you may have a 20-mile range.
Yeah, that's right.
So.
That's right. That helps with that. But that's the nice thing about our battery, about our baskets, is that it's utility, so you can put a lot of product on there, but then also you can put a battery on there, and it's attached to the front part of your bike. And when you put the kickstand down, you don't have everything tipping out of the basket. So these are the small little details that we feel sort of steps like.
Nice.
Six. That one's even better because it's more protected.
Yeah.
Max, sit. Come on, sit down.
Painting is an art form in itself. Painting, people think painting a frame is just, you just spray it, but it's not. You've got to treat the frame, you've got to prime it, then you've got to paint it, and if you want different finishes, you can have metallic finish, pearl.
So you mean when I spray paint my bikes with Rust-Oleum spray paint can, that's not the industry standard? Damn, I've been lied to.
Be able to sell that mass market.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, let me show you.
Yeah.
So this is where we do some of our painting. Here's an example of some airbrushing.
Oh wow.
Airbrushing that we do that matches those. You remember those?
Are these plastic or wood?
Yeah, plastic.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So it matches like the fenders and everything.
Fenders, yeah. We can do that because we can then assemble the battery after the fact. So you don't have to now disassemble the battery pack, then paint it, then assemble it again. We do it before we do any of that other work. So here's where we'll start with the parts, and if somebody wants any of this custom painted, so the back racks, the stays, the forks, the fenders, the chain guard, that's sort of like a staging area for our particular part that the person wants to color customize. So here's an example of a part. Now, people might say, well, you don't make the chain guard for here. Well, no, we won't particularly make this. We'll get somebody else to make it. But what we'll do is we'll finish it nicely. We'll treat it, then finish it nicely. Then we'll prime it. Make sure it's primed nicely. And then any color in the world a customer wants, we'll mix the paint. We'll match it, and then we'll paint it exactly what the customer would like.
So you guys control the whole painting process as well. It's not, you're not telling another company. The painting company is under your umbrella.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
So we'll show you how we do that as we walk through some of our touch-up paints of our most popular. So what we really like is customers love their personalized bikes, and when they scratch it, it's like an issue. So we'll send them some touch-up paint. It's got like a little marble inside. You just shake it up, and then you can touch it up. We give them a whole little way of doing it to make sure that it almost looks like new again. And we control all that process. Hey guys. Good. How's it going? So here's where which is a vital part also of a quality paint job. I mean, anybody in paint will know that, but really to paint anything of quality, the surface needs to be well treated. So you not only have to make sure it's scuffed and smooth, but then it's nice and clean. And this is what this team does here. We make sure that everything's nice and scuffed and smoothed out, cleaned up. That we don't have any little speckles on the paint. It's just a perfect job. This is these guys are unsung heroes really, because without this done properly, the entire end paint job is not done correctly.
Yeah.
This is a vitally important role. This is a really important part of our team. So over here is where we do some of our paint storage. And we've also got another facility is where we can mix the paints. So you can send us a paint swab, whatever color you like, any color in the world, just send that to us. We enter it into the computer. The computer sends us the formula, and we've got a little rack where we take the formula, all the different, so you got your primary colors and your secondary colors, and we just mix that together. And if it's a mass-produced item, we still get Sherwin-Williams to send it to us as a local company. But any color that the person, this is orange crush. So these are, we have 26 electric bike companies sort of selected colors, which we think are the most popular. There's 26 of those. But there's many people prefer like a sort of really unbelievable sort of purple that they love, or a green with a little bit of yellow in it or something.
And you can hit that pretty much.
Exactly.
Pretty cool.
And it's for any part of the bike, it's not just the frame.
Oh, it's getting loud in here.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
So this is our guns there. This is one of the heroes of our company. That's Alan. He makes sure that everything is painted to perfection. He's a maestro. We appreciate it. Anything you want to say? Hard to say.
We'll add subtitles.
So that's what we would do: the frame, the forks, the fenders, the chain guard, the back racks, any colors that the customer.
So how many bikes can you paint in a day?
It varies on colors and just the frame. It's hard to get an average. I mean, we do.
Yeah, if you had like a 200 all the same color, you could knock that out. But when you got to change your cartridges every 5 minutes or something.
Colors or whatever, we can pluck out 10 bucks a day.
Cool.
With bars and whatnot.
All right, nice.
Once it's there, we want to keep the production going. So one color you know, it's still in the air a little bit, and it's in the filters, and so we have to then get that color out, rechange the filters, make sure the air's quality is, the air is good, and then start the next color. But you don't want to start too soon.
Yeah.
Take it out the booth, and then you get all the dust settling on it. So there's this timing thing. It's how much hardener you have on there. You have to make sure that it dries, but not too quickly, so it's going to flake. You put enough hardener, and you keep it in there enough time. The guys reset up and re-prep and make sure that the next color has been painted. Just enough time to bring it out and like to hang it, to make sure that they hang properly without getting contaminated. Here's an example. Here we'll do a repair. So if it's scratched, if somebody's dropped their bike, we'll set it all up, repair it. And here's some examples of some of the different colors that we have. And they will come out of this facility on a daily basis, twice a day really. For the night shifts, we bring the bikes in the morning, and then in the afternoon for the building night shift, we'll pick up here in the afternoon.
So how often are you guys producing 24/7? Is that
24/7, yeah.
Really? That's awesome. So you got a night
Sundays are typically a little bit slow. The night shift is a little hard to get on the Sundays.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 24/7.
Wow, that's awesome. So you guys don't make your own frames currently, just the frame part, which is, obviously this part here, I don't want to touch that, but this part here, but you do have plans to start making those frames when you foresee that.
So what happens on a frame is there's loads of different companies that supply different parts of the frame. For instance, the bottom brackets. The bottom bracket is actually a whole company that produces bottom brackets.
Yeah.
Headsets, another company. Seat stays and chain stays, another company. Top tubes, especially with the integrated battery, there will be a whole company that actually manufactures the top tube that's got the cutouts for the battery. So as soon as some of those companies come here, so if more people would manufacture in the United States, it would be better for us, because it'll incentivize more of those companies to start making it here. As soon as they make it, then it would be great. We can get the bottom bracket manufactured to send the headset guy, and welding all those parts together is actually not that tough. You put it in a mold, and then you weld it together.
Yeah, you get a jig, as long as you get the mold or the jig going, and it's just, that's the hard part.
That's
But
the hard part.
once you get it dialed in, it's
Then we can do it.
Yeah.
We'd love to do that, because now we have to have all these different frames of all our different models, all the different stuff. Like, it takes up so much room.
yeah.
And of course, there's a lot of inventory to hold the frames. Soon we'll get to the point where we can actually weld them out ourselves. So it all depends on the growth of the company.
Because then you don't have to order them at a certain amount. You could make them as you need them,
That's right.
and not have a bulk taking up space and all that.
Different
Yeah.
colors,
Yeah.
different places.
Cool.
The history behind this store was, so in my past life, I was a restaurant guy. I had 17 restaurants in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, wow.
I had a little franchise. I was a franchisee. I had a little fine dining store that didn't work out, unfortunately. But I had 500 employees, and I was so tired of retail. I was like, this retail, so I got out the restaurant business. Actually, I came over here. My late brother said the best place to live is Southern California. So he unfortunately passed away. I came here. I got rid of all my restaurants, and I basically had retired. And I said, well, listen, let me do this bike thing to help people, in South Africa, and started a small little business. And I vowed never to get into retail, because I had all this restaurant experience. And we had 24-hour restaurants. We had breakfast, lunch, and dinner as well. We had late night at a bar and all this kind of thing. I said, I'm staying out of retail. But as our bike company started doing better and better, I got a LinkedIn connection from a real estate guy. And the real estate guy said to me, hey, Sean, have you ever thought about doing retail? Have you ever thought about a showroom or something? Your bikes are great. Why don't you do a showroom? So, funny enough, that same week, an architect, a restaurant guy that does restaurant architecture, came and bought a bike for his wife. And he also said to me the same thing. He said, why don't you do a retail shop? So I said, you know what? It's so fortuitous that all of a sudden both of you guys, the real estate guy, and you said that. He said, I'll tell you what, if you build me a bike, I'll do the rendering for you. So he did this beautiful rendering. And I looked at this rendering with our bikes in there, and it was just so beautiful. I said to the real estate guy, I showed him the rendering. Rick McCormick was the architect. I said to Rick, hey, this is beautiful. I said to the real estate guy, Matthew, I said, you know what? Let's just give it a bash. And this is the
So this is your first real retail
This is
shop?
Yeah, it's actually it's our second, funny enough, but this is the one that's closest to the factory. But this is the end result of our retail. So we decided nice big sign with nice big lettering, and we wanted just to showcase our bikes. A little bit similar to the small little one that you saw at the factory. And so we have our models up on the window that the customer can actually now feel and touch the bike if he wants to. Now, of course, a lot of our business is online, and we don't have to pay for this overhead, so it's slightly more expensive. You don't get as many deals here, but you can come and feel the bike. You can see the quality of the custom paint job. You can see the tires. You can take up one of our demo bikes out for a test ride. So this is our showroom. It's in here in Newport Beach. This one. It's and then also what we can do is we can showcase the fact that we've also got like a building facility here.
Oh, what do you build here?
So what we do here in the showrooms as well is we not only build bikes, but we can also obviously do the repair or maintenance. And our demo bikes, they clean the demo bike, make sure the demo bikes are up to scratch, and also they can actually help with sales. So this little showroom is a bunch of everything. The bike builder keeps his skills sharp up on there. Then also by repairing and maintaining, and then also selling. So it's kind of like an all-in-one sort of bike shop.
This is where all the jack of all trades come.
That's right.
Right.
Jack of all trade, yeah. So this would be something that we're putting together here. Hey guys, this is Nick.
Hey, how's it going? I got a camera. Don't be afraid.
He's really good. He's so typically, and our whole team. Typically what each facility. So we've got 5 facilities in total. We always have a head sort of quality control person that not only does the testing and inspecting, but also some of the training and focuses primarily on making sure that the bike's quality is to his particular standard. So Nick represents the quality of this particular facility. He looks after the staff, makes sure that the guys are trained properly. So it's a real key part to our success of our business. So this is where we'll do the building of the custom paint. So some of the custom paint jobs will come over here, and they'll be color coded according to the order number, the dates, the person that we're building for, and if they want the wood fenders, the back rack can be color customized. So we'll sort all this out, and then of course then build the bike. Like here's a standard Model Y. So this will be the red with the red rims, and then the wood fenders that kind of tie in nicely with the tires. We'll do the finishing touches here, and we'll do the inspections, and then this will then be taken over to our factory in Essentia, where they'll pack it fully built. So the packing facility will be over there. This is a bit tighter for packing. And here you can see when the guys come through all the different. That's a nice thing about our customers. I mean, they come up with the most amazing. You can't do that every time. When you offer 3 colors or 5 colors or 6 colors. I mean, when a customer gets to choose his colors and the way that they kind of coordinate all that. I mean, you can see just the
you get to make it their own.
Yeah.
They get some pride in it. I mean, that's what having a bike is all about, making it your own. And once you get it and making those little tweaks to it, and yeah.
Yeah, really nice. So then at the back over there, we've got some storage. And some, we used to have a wheel machine in there until we opened up our factory. So they build the wheels, as I say, like the strips. They'll put this the correct strip in here. Sometimes you get these tiny little rinky-dink little strips. Then they'll put the tube on the tire on, make sure that these wheels are...
And now what motors do you use on these bikes? Do you have different ones for different brands or for different lines, or they all use the same motor?
We've got 2 branded motors that we spec on. The two main things on a motor are basically neodymium magnets and then the copper windings. And that's sort of standard in every electrical motor. So what we make sure is the quality of the neodymium magnets and the curve, that they make sure they're curved, and then the quality is right on the magnets. And also the copper windings, the quality of the windings that they do. We don't make our own motors yet. Again, something that we'd love to do in the future.
So which motors are you using?
So there's two types. So we got a Maxxis motor and then a Showroom motor.
Okay.
But it's still got the internally geared motor. It's a 500. It's rated at 500 watts, but it's maxes out at 1,250 watts.
Oh wow, okay.
A very powerful high torque motor. Showing, so we make these like little cards, and the nice thing is we can take like this is our so-called fall collection. So the fall collection is we change it as fashion colors change. You can change what's on our website. So this is what's on our website, but as I say, anybody can send any color that they like. Like that gentleman outside wanted to match his car, we can match his car. So that's a nice thing again about having our own paint facility and everything. We can keep up to date with the latest trends. Pastels colors are in 1 year, more solid colors are now, the pinstripings in them, and sometimes so we can just keep up to date with all that stuff.
Very cool.
This was our traditional first showroom that we came.
I thought the last one was the first one. Okay.
No, that was, sorry. So this is the first. This is where we tried it out. We said, let's do this and try it. And I wanted to, as I say, stay away from retail. We opened this, and this is not nearly as good a location as the other one. But when we opened this, day one, the store just did gangbusters. And we thought, well, I wanted to get out of that retail side of the business. But people love it so much that they can come in here, they can talk to somebody knowledgeable, especially women, when they walk into a bike shop, it's like walking into a
It's intimidating.
It's quite intimidating.
Yeah.
People talk
Not even for women, I would say for anybody. I mean, before I got into bikes, I would go in there and you just feel like, oh, they think I'm an idiot.
That's real.
Yeah.
It can be very intimidating, and so a lot of our salespeople, like Bella, we want to make sure that people don't feel like an idiot when they walk in here. And women have got a good way of doing that. They don't really have that much of it. Not that guys are but it's having somebody that can speak your language. They don't feel intimidated about it. When you talk about a watt and a volt and an amp, and everyone's like, I don't know what that is. They kind of dumb it down a little bit, or keep it that it's simple and straightforward. And then also having someone that runs through the design process with you, and you can end up choosing that. And then you can actually see that we actually are building here. It is a custom built bike. We've got another side over here. So we do the same thing over here. These are like standard colored bikes where we can just keep it's a small enough area. But the nice thing in this area here, we can do between 15 and 20 bikes a day up here. When we've got a full capacity, so this is where we do our inspections. And then each one of these we have 2, 4, 6, 8 bike stands. Put it in there. That's Miguel. He's our number. He looks after all the quality control in here. Like I said, in each one, he quality controls each part of the bike. And so before any bike goes out, there'll always be an independent person that will inspect and test the bike, different to the bike builder. So if there's not a certified builder, he gets it tested and inspected. So you have a double sort of a backup for each of the bikes. Then when that gets shipped, it goes to shipping, and then it gets another whole through checklist, making sure the order's right, make sure the braking is good, make sure the lighting's working. So our quality, we get less than, so far it's less than 1 in 1,000 returns for quality related.
1 in 1,000?
1 in 1,000, less than 1 in 1,000. So because it's important for us, we ship a full bike across the country. It's really bad if somebody sends it back.
Yeah.
So we've got to make sure it's exactly what they ordered, it's exactly right. There's not a single problem on the bike. It's double checked by us and triple checked. And then if anybody ever sends it back and it's a quality issue, we've got a serial number on each frame. So every frame's got a serial number under it. And every builder, there's only one builder that eventually does the final building of their bike, and his name is related to that serial number.
So he's promptly fired after that.
He's properly, well, at least what we do is we then also speak to the inspector and the tester, and bring them all into a room, and we say, listen, we sent this bike up to Ohio, or something, up to Northern California, or across to Florida or something. And the person sent this photograph back and said that, you know, the back rack wasn't tightened properly, or we didn't write the wiring properly. Now, how did that happen? How did they get through all the different, you know, inspectors and testers and builders? And then we'll make sure that the whole team knows all about that. So, and then so you're relating it to a builder and keeping people responsible for their builds is like a key part of why we keep the quality so. So that's really it.
Now I'm looking at these rear racks really quick. Do you know what the weight on these are?
You also say 50 pounds.
Okay.
But I've sat on the back of this and I weigh 280 pounds.
I was going to say, these look like they're pretty heavy duty. They're not bolted onto the frame. These are fully integrated into the frame.
Yeah. So what you'll notice is this was our 2000 model, and this is the 2001 model. This is like our 2002 model. Which you'll notice one of the unique things about our back racking system is it's a small little sort of secret little thing, and it's MIK.
Yeah.
So that's a really an important difference and upgrade. So MIK is a Dutch company, and it's Basel and MIK, and it's MIK stands for mounting is key. It's all about how do you utilize racking to the most beneficial way that you possibly can do it. And we feel that Basel and MIK have done that. So we've partnered up with MIK, and they've allowed us to use their special design for our back racking system.
So what's interesting about this?
Yeah, so if you notice that there's like a little lip here, a little gouge out here, and in a little the way that this is designed, and I'll show you from if you come over here, I'll show you so what they sell here, you'll see there again, it's MIK is back there again, and what this is an adapter plate. And the beautiful thing about this is you can take this and you can add it to any one of your accessories that you like. So if you've got a tackle box or a cooler box or a camera box, what you can do, you see, we attach it to the bottom of that, or one of our crates, or our baskets, or something like a dog carrier. They all have this adapter plate on it. And then what this adapter plate does is it slips into that pattern.
Oh, I see.
I'll show you that over here. So it will slip in over there. It slips in here, and it clips into place. So now you can attach any attachment to this bike.
Cool.
So you don't have to have it. Just comes standard. And then you say, you know what, I want a basket on the back, or I want saddlebags, or I want the camera bag. And all you need is this, and then you attach it to anything that you like. So now if you don't have the back rack on it, and we want to add a rack, like this rack, then you'll notice again, its mounting is key. Now you can still have your thing for your towel or for something else that you put on there, or you can attach this, and this thing also then slides into place there and clips on.
Very cool.
So it's a really nice universal feature that is now for all our bikes. So those are the small little details, people.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. This concludes the video of the tour of the electric bike company. I'm meeting with the owner, Sean. It's really cool. I had a great time. It was really interesting to see their facility and see how like a proper e-bike facility is ran. It's really, really interesting. And I really like the way that he's doing things, and I hope more e-bike manufacturers do the same. Definitely, if you check out their website, if you see any of their bikes that you like, then support them. Buy something that's made with a good ethos. Reward the people that are doing it the right way. So, alright, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.